So good afternoon everyone. I think it's a great privilege to be part of this discussion today. I represent DCM Shriram, but at the same time here I am as an individual also. I have my own views being in this field for last 35 years. I have almost manufacturing as well as ESG and sustainability experience for last almost now 20 years. Driving in DCM Shriram, and I worked with companies like Jubilant, Syngenta and Renbaxi. Started my career with Garda. So having said that, the first thing I think already ma'am has started with the very first thing, our culture. So हम जो भगवान बोलते हैं, what भगवान is comprised of? It is भूमि, गगन, अग्नि और क्या है वो वायु और नीर. अब देखिए उसी से ही हम स्टार्ट करते हैं अपनी सब चीज़ों का. So with that I think background I would go to the next part, which is behavioral part, which starts with self first of all. When we talk about this culture change, the very first thing which comes to our mind is there are four cultures we talk about. One is, the very first one is reactive. कि अगर कुछ होता है, पानी कम हो गया, immediately we react कि भाई पानी घर में धीरे धीरे कम शुरू करते हैं अभी use करना. That's a reactive approach. The second one is dependent. There is already, we know 2 घंटे के लिए पानी आएगा, so you adopt that approach of dependency based on that water requirement which is there for the entire day during that supply. That's the dependent one. Then is independent. I am aware, I am conscious about water, so I will take appropriate measures to consume judiciously. That's what is the first culture we are talking about. I take care of myself and my family first, consuming all valuable natural resources judiciously, whether it is waste generation, segregation, energy consumption, switching off light. You talk about anything, I'm talking about behavior right now. That's the self, you can say you are very well aware of, the awareness we are talking about. The fourth one, which is most important, is the interdependent. I take care of not only myself, but I also take care of others. That's the culture we in industry also encourage, that I take care of myself and others also. That's how the culture building takes place. So with these words, I think already you have touched upon the sustainability challenges. Already World Economic Forum has already identified the top, which is for next 2 years, the challenges which businesses have to address. Businesses, what I mean is, these are ultimately going to the society, finally. So in next 10 years, you see extreme weather conditions. I think in my lifetime, I had never thought that I will see 50 degrees. Yes. And this is, I think, real awareness that everyone has to have. I think some youth are already here. So I think youth have to realize this, that if we don't act today, along with whosoever is right now alive, I think it is time to act now, because we don't have any time. Right now what we as corporate also are taking action is not only mitigating, but at the same time adopting this whatever is temperature, we are designing our equipments also accordingly. Our researches are like that, because as a company we are into agri-rural business, where the crop, you can say productivity, is affected because of this temperature change. There has been reduction in sugarcane productivity by almost less than 30%. Same is the case with rice, wheat. Believe me, the awareness itself is very much where your produce is so less, which ultimately is not only harming farmers, but your all production activities also. Just see the linkage. The food will not be available for people. There is already now, I think you have kept this session in a very, very appropriate time when we just celebrated World Environment Day, where the theme was one land, one land, one future. What it means, we don't have any other place to stay. So it is our, I think, this generation's responsibility to restore to the best available possibility, whatever we can do, not only as an individual, which is the topic of the day, but also collectively, by creating awareness all across, whether it is your company or your society, wherever you are. I think this is what I feel as a leader or as an individual also, you can always influence others. That's my take on this. And the three sustainability challenges as I was talking about, one is extreme weather conditions, second one is shortage of natural resources. This is something which is, I think, very, very important, not only for businesses, but also for every individual also. That if we don't consume responsibly, this is not, and we have seen that. Bangalore, no water. Chennai, zero water day. So I think these are real whistleblowers for us to act now. The third one is biodiversity loss, which is very important. We as a human being are existing for, as Mr. Gupta mentioned, for almost more than millions of years. But certainly we have to live in harmonious, you can say, with maintaining that biodiversity, the loss which is happening. At the same time, ecosystem, which is right now going to collapse in the times to come. That's the real risk. So I am more than, I would say, it's not worry, but it's a real concern that we can't do anything immediately. It requires a real patience also, but certainly you have to act. So in that context, our industry side, just to share few actions, is that we are going towards the renewable, and right now in our portfolio we have 42 to 43% of our direct energy is green energy right now, and we are putting up a lot of renewable plants also wherever it is possible in terms of availability and affordability. These two things are being looked at in. And at the same time, circular economy is also where all the waste which are getting generated at the sites and byproducts, these are getting recycled as key raw materials in our various products, on-site also and off-site also. And third one is water, where we are right now 12 times water positive. What it means is, whatever water we consume across all our operations, we are doing a lot of rainwater harvesting. We are doing water recycling in terms of treating that water with using latest technologies in terms of RO, nanofiltration and all those things. And also encouraging best agri practices by various farmers. That's how ultimately water is saved, because agriculture is another area where 80% of our total water, if you see in India, is being consumed by the farmers. So there we need to utilize this AI and IoT, all these technologies which are available for us, so that whatever moisture is there in the soil, immediately it gives a sensing so that the pump stops. So all those things are getting ultimately evaluated, and this is what is the need of the hour, where we can contribute. But now coming to the various stakeholders, as you were talking about, the very first one is youth. I must say they are the real catalyst for bringing change, and also trying to not only bringing change but also sustaining it, because they are the future of our country. So real awareness, if it is at the school level as well as college level, I feel that at college level there can be eco clubs and all, which I have visited many times, our this college, Shri Ram College of Commerce, where there are eco clubs. So the youth are really doing wonderful in terms of not only waste segregation, in terms of water saving also. All those, they carry their own bottles, you see. What ultimately is that bottle doing? Because you are not using those plastic bottles. That way you are not only consuming that water which is available for you, but also judiciously, you are not wasting. So that's what I feel right now also we see on the table. These glasses are a real indicator that we are not using any plastic bottles here. I must compliment all the organizers. Yeah. So that is why we talk about self means it starts with me first. Like when my colleagues or anybody enters in our plant, we have a mirror. Who is responsible for your safety? The person sees his picture in the mirror. You are responsible. That there the safety starts. Same is the case with environmental responsibility also. It starts with me, and then it will follow with others as well. Then coming to homemakers, this is I think an area which is again very very important. एक कहावत भी है जो बोलते हैं हम घर में अगर हमने किसी लेडी को पढ़ा दिया तो पूरी फैमिली क्या उसकी पूरी जनरेशन पढ़ जाती है. तो इसमें भी वही है. I would say if homemaker is well aware of this segregation, your domestic help and others will automatically do what she wants. That's I think my suggestion on this. So that awareness we have to create, but how to ultimately create that, that's going to be a challenge in terms of incentivizing. Why I am using this word? Because once you segregate the waste, the recyclable waste is having some value out of it. I've seen in my society also there are some credits which are given based on those segregation. So those these waste lifters, they come on a particular day, and that's how those things are getting, you can say, shared with all the people. Though right now it is not, as you rightly said, not all will participate, because it again depends from person to person. But certainly if you have a success rate of 60 to 70% in any society, certainly it's a good percentage. So that's one way of motivating homemakers. Senior citizen is something I have a different opinion, though I will also in next 1 year fall under the same category. But here the mindset is something which is already there. If you are trying to make them learn something, they will have different, sorry for saying all these words, but certainly they will have different mindset. So changing their mindset is the most difficult. But yes, once they are on board, success is I think 100%. But changing their mindset, because it's already tuned to various activities. So that's a challenge. But here I think that's a question for all the members here. They can suggest, because to me right now that's a bigger challenge. Because teaching a naive child is very easy than a senior citizen. Awareness in less privileged society. My wife has an NGO, so we create a lot of awareness in terms of this underprivileged children are there to the tune of somewhere around 200 or so in Noida. But at the same time, company level also, we do a lot of CSR activities across various sites where we have various villages and all. There this awareness on not only sanitation but also menstrual health and all those things are continuous process, which is very, very important in terms of not only and specifically wherever washrooms or toilets are required, those were also installed, and these are maintained sustainably for almost 5 years. Then there is a hand-holding sort of thing, so that there is an exit plan also. So all those things are ultimately practiced. But as I was mentioning, not only creating awareness but also providing those resources also, whether it is in terms of providing all those soaps, solutions and all those things, how to ultimately maintain those things is equally important. So with that, I think that's all at least at this point of time. Thank you very much.
So thank you sir, thank you. अनुराग जी, मेरे ख्याल से इसमें दो चीज़ें हैं, जैसे सर ने भी लास्ट में यूथ, होम मेकर, सीनियर सिटीजन्स के बारे में सर ने बोला कि मुश्किल है. मेरा बिलीव कुछ और हो सकता है. मेरे को लगता है कि अगर उनको कुछ इंसेंटिव दिया जाए, एक काम दिया जाए, हो सकता है आप कुछ उसमें करना चाहें. तो इफ़ यू वांट टू से ऑन सस्टेनेबिलिटी बी ब्रीफ, बट यूथ, होम मेकर, सीनियर सिटीजन्स, लेस प्रिविलेज, अवेयरनेस को हम कैसे स्प्रेड कर सकते हैं, दैट इज़ मोर इम्पोर्टेंट.
मतलब मेरे विचार काफ़ी स्कैटर्ड से थे जब मैं आपको सुन रहा था, सो इट्स लाइक ऑल ओवर द प्लेस. सो आई जस्ट ट्राई टू सिंथेसाइज इट. इट्स नॉट ESG itself is all over the place. और अगर हम देखें तो सब कुछ में ESG दिख सकता है. I like this quote by some Australian thinker who said that either there would be a green future or no future at all. So होना तो green future है, so अगर कोई choice है नहीं है हमारे पास. So in the corporates, I think I come from Max Life Insurance. I am a General Counsel, Company Secretary, and also the head of ESG there. One thing which I think can be easily implemented is, just like we have mandatory POSH trainings in the companies, we should have mandatory ESG trainings. अभी हम इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे कुछ बनाने की कोशिश करते हैं कि हर कॉर्पोरेट अपने लेवल पे कर रहा होगा, बट उससे आई थिंक दैट्स नॉट गेटिंग डन. सो दिस इज इजी अचीवेबल. तो ये तो हम बेसिक है जो करेंगे. सेकेंडली, कुछ सामंजस्यता होनी चाहिए बिटवीन ESG, CSR एंड DEI. हर कंपनी जो बड़ी हो जाती है वो 3 एजेंडा अलग अलग चलने लग जाते हैं, फिर उसको सामंजस्यता बैठाने में बहुत टाइम लगता है. तो some are running DEI separately, CSR separately, ESG goals separately, but ultimately this should be under one flag of ESG, right? So otherwise, you understand, वो उसको काम करने में it's difficult. सब अपना एजेंडा लेके फिर चलते हैं. There are some things which actually can become movements very simply, and some corporates are doing it, some organizations doing it. For example, a concept of half glass water, right? So हमने शायद सुना होगा, right? कि किसी रेस्टोरेंट में जाना केवल आधा ग्लास पानी मिले. So I wrote to Prime Minister, वहाँ से acknowledgement तो आया, लेकिन उसके बाद खैर इतना कुछ आता है तो ये थोड़ी नेगोशिएशन चल जाएगा, but possible, I think आपके डेस्क से जाएगा. So it's very easy. रेस्टोरेंट में जा रहे हैं तो केवल आधा ग्लास ही भर के दो, क्योंकि देखते हैं तो एक घूंट पानी पी के छोड़ देते हैं लोग. Not done right. So that should be that can be one idea. As I said, sir, I am just speaking randomly जो विचार आ रहा है.
ना अभी तक फर्स्ट आइडिया मेरे को अच्छा लगा, पोस्ट ट्रेनिंग है, ESG ट्रेनिंग वो कंपलसरी है, इसको भी ट्रेनिंग दे सकते हैं, दिस विल बी
बिल्कुल।
Even the half glass water concept is very good, and it's being practiced.
It is being
also.
practiced and
You can have a small glass also.
Yes.
People may feel of
small glass is important.
Small glass is also a good concept. Right. A company started a no crease day. crease day. मतलब
Yes, Monday
shirt-
was the no crease.
Yeah, no, but crease वाला अगर पहन के आओगे तो कोई प्रॉब्लम है नहीं। और वैसे आपने हाँ प्रेस करने की जरूरत नहीं है। सो इट्स ए सिंपल आइडिया है, लेकिन एक्चुअली सिंप्लिसिटी ही आपको ना कैसे वो करेंगे, सिंप्लिसिटी कुछ होगी तो पकड़ जाएगी चीज़। और आई वाज सरप्राइज, आई वाज ट्रैवलिंग विद विस्तारा और मैं वहाँ पे फिर जाके एक मेल लिखा, फोटो खींची है। वो जो कटलरी देते हैं 3 कटलरी दे रखी थी उन्होंने, एक नाइफ दे रखा था, एक स्पून भी था और एक फोक भी था। सो आई सेड आपने जो दिया उसमें नाइफ की कोई जरूरत नहीं, उसका मतलब कुछ ऐसा आइटम नहीं था जो नाइफ की जरूरत हो, सो नॉट रिक्वायर्ड। तो आपने स्पून और फोक दिया, दैट कैन बी कॉम्बो, राइट, 2 in 1 जो होता है। एंड आई रोट टू देम एंड दे इमीडिएटली सेड या दिस इज अ वेरी गुड आइडिया। इतना लंबा मेल आया मुझे एंड दे सेड या वी विल इंप्लीमेंट दिस। सो आई डोंट नो उसके बाद मैं अभी गया नहीं हूँ रिसेंटली, बट दे सेड, दे एक्नॉलेज। सो आई थिंक इट्स अबाउट लोग एक्नॉलेज कर रहे हैं। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि सेंसिटाइजेशन नहीं है, सेंसिटाइजेशन हर लेवल पे। आई वाज नॉट एक्सपेक्टिंग अ रिस्पांस, 24 आवर्स में उनकी कस्टमर का बड़ा सा रिस्पांस आया, व्हिच वाज गुड। Another practice जो हमने अपनी we have launched a 15 item pledge actually. So one of the pledge which is interesting, 2 pledges I'll just talk about it, बाकी तो common हो सकती हैं। Like for example, I wear my pant 2 times at least. वो एक दिन के अंदर धोता नहीं है, इसमें मतलब शर्म की कोई बात नहीं होनी चाहिए, right? It saves water, it saves lives. And secondly, around that, someone talked about, Sanjay, you talked about fast fashion. Fast fashion is one of the biggest contributors to landfills.
Yes.
पहनो और फेंको वाला कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है। आप महंगा कपड़ा लो लेकिन बस पहनते ही रहो।
I think France is the first country who has put a curve on that.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that can be another curve. जैसे हम 100-200 की टी-शर्ट पहन के और फिर 2-4 दिन में कर देते हैं, नहीं मजा है उसमें। So that can be, I think, another addition. I think there was a lot. This one more thing I would like to. Solar पे तने अभी इतना actually हुआ नहीं है जितना होना चाहिए। वो दिखता है, वो तो बिल्कुल ही लो हैंगिंग फ्रूट सा दिखता है, लेकिन जब करने जाते हैं तो कुछ होता नहीं है। सेम इज विद EV ऑल्सो। आई एम जस्ट कंटेम्पलेटिंग अ कार, लेकिन मैं EV लूँगा नहीं शायद। सो आई डोंट, these are two things which
The economic viability, I think we have to work on the economic viability.
on solar.
Yes, you.
just talk about, I think EV also if you
Definitely the
can.
cost is the
And the cost is always the deciding factor.
Right.
those who are staying in higher risk society.
I think somehow this conference also looks like a bit of spiritual quotient थोड़ा high है यहाँ पे, so शायद उसी तरह के लोग ज़्यादा होते हैं ESG, but which is very good. On spirituality, I was actually thinking to start this, and I'll probably start this. अभी क्या हो गया कि we all have been, हम अगर हम हाथ खड़ा कराएं तो most of us could not belong to Delhi या गुड़गांव से कोई बाहर से आए होंगे मेरे ख्याल से। And what happened in the process that we have lost our friends. अभी वो टच नहीं है। तो अगर आपसे पूछें कि शाम की चाय किसके साथ पियोगे, सो शायद हस्बैंड वाइफ ही बचेंगे। सो देयर इज नो वन अराउंड टू जस्ट हैव चाय तो पी लें किसी के साथ, राइट? 4 दोस्त नहीं मिलते, अभी दोस्त चले गए अभी। So this concept which I was thinking is, I don't know how this will relate to ESG, is called spirituality. मतलब शाम के 4 बजे spirituality की बातें होंगी और चाय के साथ होंगी. So this is a concept of spirituality which I'll start from my home itself. जहाँ actually जब तक बातें संवाद नहीं होगा ना, मैं तो पहली बार इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में आऊँ, लेकिन आप एक संवाद कर रहे हैं तो वहाँ से कुछ पॉसिबिलिटी होती है। So जब तक कोई बातें ही नहीं होंगी आपस में किसी भी चीज़ के बारे में, तो वो आगे कैसे चलेगी? So एक फोरम ऐसे मिले, so that is spirituality also, but I think इस तरह के और फोरम हो जहाँ पे डायलॉग हो सके, बातें हो सके, कुछ चीज़ें। अब ऐसा जरूर होगा कि कुछ ना कुछ किसी ने अच्छा बोला, उसने बोला कि ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि अगर आप सुबह निकल जाओ सर्दी में कुछ बूंदे आपके ऊपर ना आए, वो होगा ही होगा। तो इस कॉन्फ्रेंस पे से हम जब जाएंगे कुछ ना कुछ कोई ना कोई लेके जाए, लेकिन वो बातें करने का कोई फोरम होना चाहिए जहाँ पे हो सके। सो वो तो मेरा छोटा इनिशिएटिव होगा, बट और कोई इनिशिएटिव अगर आप कुछ ऐसा करा सकें तो दैट वुड बी वेरी। आई थिंक नॉट एवरीथिंग इज लॉस्ट। इफ आई सी, खैर मैं इस तरह सोच रहा हूँ, माई डॉटर वॉज planning to do CS and मैंने देखा कि उसमें ESG का एक पूरा पेपर है, आप ही लोगों ने बनाया हुआ है, आप ही लोग उसमें इन्वॉल्व रहे होंगे. I was delighted to see that. तो काम तो हो रहा है, वो छोटा हो, छोटा कुछ होता ही नहीं actually. I like this very interesting quote. वो कहता है कि when I realized the importance of little things, then I realized that there are no little things. Little things कुछ होती ही नहीं है. छोटा क्या है? कुछ भी छोटा नहीं है. सब कुछ ही बड़े. So I think I like that concept. CSR मैंडेटरी के काफ़ी दिन पहले हो गया था, लेकिन आई थिंक इसमें बहुत और स्कोप है. CSR अभी वॉलंटरी मतलब करते हैं थोड़ा सा, इसके ऊपर कुछ और हो सकता है. आई डोंट नो इफ वी इंक्रीज द परसेंटेज, मे नॉट बी, बट कुछ डेटा आना चाहिए कि CSR के थ्रू कितना काम किस जगह किस स्टेट में कैसे कैसे हो रहा है.
csr.gov.in is the
Is it?
website.
I know.
Yeah.
Already there.
And it's like
Stand
mandate
corrected.
2013 it's
There is
already
a-
years.
Okay.
And it's been a decade of CSR, so there's a lot of
2013.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a decade of.
I think I strongly feel that in CSR, one thing which government has started, the private-public partnership. By mandating to spend certain amount on CSR is not sufficient.
Yeah, people don't find
Yeah.
this
Because
thing.
partnering with the private sector
Yeah.
to make it work.
Right.
It is
Very, very
already there with NGOs.
No,
Of
no,
course, the
but it's
government
my
has been
choice.
implementing agencies as
Yeah, so
NGOs.
yeah, for example, it's my choice whether I go to NGO or not. But लेकिन कुछ थोड़ा सा
Of
mandate हो
course,
जाए ना,
that's
so
open
वो
for
अच्छा
the
रहता है because they are the champions there.
And CSR comes under ESG. In all the reports you find CSR and ESG reports.
Yeah. The another good thing which has happened is this ESG rating, which will I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
mandatory,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
Indian this thing. So that's one good thing. I'm just talking about good things which have happened. We should not forget which all is happening. I work for insurance company. IRDAI has come up with this thing that you have to mandatorily have a ESG policy and climate risk
Has
policy.
to be. The
Has to
TCFD
be.
one which is coming.
Right, and I think this has been copied from this RBI, which is also have this climate risk management.
Yeah,
maybe,
we're working actually with them, with
You're working
SaS.
with them? Yeah.
On this-
BRS are becoming mandatory.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think I was just talking about good things which are happening. So not everything is lost. So काफी कुछ चल भी रहा है. So yeah, I think ऐसे ही scheduled था. I think second round में.
We can move on.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks. We can move on. So Tanya ji, 10 minutes.
Sure.
Again, जो हमने slides से presentation रही थी, उसके ऊपर जैसे शर्मा जी ने भी लास्ट में
वो स्लाइड सामने रख दीजिए मेरे ख्याल में. इट विल बी बेटर फॉर एवरीवन टू स्पीक. वो लास्ट वाली स्लाइड रख दीजिए जिसमें वो स्टेक होल्डर्स थे ना.
You know, stakeholders,
अच्छा.
youth, NGO,
आई थिंक दैट विल बी
because this is youth.
यूथ से कर दीजिए. आई थिंक दैट विल गिव
मतलब उसमें आप लोगों के क्या सजेशंस हैं एंड ऑफ कोर्स अनुराग जी ने एक सजेशन बहुत अच्छा दिया दैट दिस शुड बी जो पोस्ट ट्रेनिंग कंपलसरी है तो ESG ट्रेनिंग कंपलसरी क्यों नहीं हो सकती बिकॉज इट इज़ ESG ट्रेनिंग शुड कंपलसरी होनी चाहिए. हर एक किसी बच्चे को मेरे हिसाब से पता होना चाहिए एनवायरनमेंट के बारे में, सोसाइटी को ध्यान रखना है और गवर्नेंस को ध्यान रखना है. बचपन से ही अगर जो गवर्नेंस हम लोग सीख लें तो बड़े होकर प्रभावी नहीं.
यस बट कंपनीज में तो होती है. वो तो कंपलसरी है अंडर
कंपलसरी ट्रेनिंग
It is
अंडर
mandatory.
BRS. इसीलिए मैं हमारे को तो करनी पड़ती है, इसीलिए मुझे मालूम है. जस्ट हाँ
सभी के लिए उन्होंने सभी
अरे एट
के
ऑल
लिए
लेवल्स. हमारे तो बोर्ड में भी होती है बिकॉज आई एम पार्ट ऑफ द
All
बोर्ड.
employees.
सो ऑल इट हैज टू बी. इट इज रिपोर्टेड इन द BRS also. if you-
1000 companies.
हाँ टॉप 1000. Yes. उसमें तो every employee has to
तो
under.
तान्या
So, thank you everybody, and very quick introduction about me. I have been in the sustainability space for a long time, almost 2 decades. Built a solar farm, large solar plants of about 0.5 gigawatt. Raised a lot of money for it, listed it on the London Stock Exchange, and now I'm building Minzo, which is about sustainability for the masses. And exactly the concept we're talking here. So I'm very glad कि हम ऐसे एक evolved group में बैठे हैं जो ये बात दिल से समझता है. पहले जब हम ये दिल से बात करते हैं, I want to start with what Dr. Shruti said, that there is intent, but there is a gap between the intent to action. Why is that? And I think the first thing that comes to my mind is सबको लगता है कि मेरे अकेले के एक्शन से क्या होगा. The problem is so huge that even if I do something, how I will matter. Even if I don't carry a plastic bottle, that's just me. बाकी सब तो ऐसे ही कर रहे हैं ना. And then you get into that herd behavior. You say, rest is not doing. What will it change by me doing? And that's where I love what Anurag said. Small is big when it comes to sustainability. And that mindfulness is what we need to imbibe in people around. You know, the senior citizens can be the evangelists जो जाकर ये प्रमोट करके एक्सप्लेन करें कि स्मॉल इज बिग. छोटे से तुम बहुत कर सकते हो क्योंकि बूंद बूंद से भरता सागर first step is the step to the mile. And just that awareness, explaining कि अच्छा आप ज़्यादा नहीं, एक दिन ऑफिस की जगह हाइब्रिड कर लो. आपको ये नहीं बोल रहे कि आप जीना छोड़ दो, फ्लाइट्स मत लो. No, one vacation can you go on a train. And okay, if it's too much of a problem, can you do one thing remotely? We can't ask individuals to stop living. We can't say, please don't run your AC, don't do this. But can we say one day, can you take a pledge that the family will sleep together and one room's AC will not work? Because abhi kya hota hai, these small actions seem insignificant. But when you show the maths, the sum of the small actions into the billions of people, that's when you see the change. And ये जो है ना, I think ये हमारे senior citizens बहुत ज़्यादा promote कर सकते हैं. That's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing I want to come for is the fact about knowledge. I think हम एक बहुत ही evolved group है. हम में से कितने लोगों को अपना carbon footprint पता है? So I see a few hands, but my question is why? You know, if we don't know our carbon footprint, how can we reduce something we don't know? I keep saying green, become sustainable, become green, but I don't know the problem. How will I solve something I don't know? And I think that's the second step. The problem is knowing your carbon footprint has been very difficult traditionally. It's about noting everything you do, all activities you do, tracking all your purchases. And in the things of so many activities we do, it gets lost. But that's where technology and AI is helping us. There are, like, you know, and I'm building one as Minzo, my net zero, but there are so many AI-based calculators that can just help you track your footprint automatically without you doing nothing. All it needs is for you to use it. So वो usage adoption के लिए भी हम लोगों को evangelist बना सकते हैं, because once you know the problem, can you start reducing it? For me, what happened is I started to realize when I knew that problem was that my one car ride from Gurgaon to Noida was equivalent to the amount of CO2 one tree can absorb in a year. तो मेरा जो एक return car ride था, that was like chopping a tree for what it can do for a year. ये start अगर हम लोगों को explain करेंगे, तो हो सकता है कि of the 6 car rides they do, they reduce it to 4. Because here the answer is not about abstinence. The answer is about small reduction. So जब आप explain करते हैं small reductions and then you explain the impact of those small actions in meaningful way. पहले क्या हुआ, we started explaining people by saying your one car ride is 10 kg of CO2. And it was like, हाँ ठीक है 10 है, क्या करूँ? But when you related it to say this is a return car ride of 100 km is what a tree absorbs in a year, it became relatable. So can you tell the youth, as my next this thing, that build those relatable examples and then start practicing it mindfully? Because here, knowing your carbon footprint on an individual basis can be an answer. You know, for each one of us, our footprint is different. For me, it's very sporadic. Why? Because I take a lot of flights. जब मैं flight लेती हूँ तो वो drastically increase हो जाता है. उसके सिवा I'm very mindful because I have built my home that way. For somebody else, it may be very different. So the solutions can't be cookie cutter कि जो एक का है वो सबका है. Why can't we use data and AI for that? And you know, I'm doing a small step with Minzo with that, but we can do so much more together as this group. The third thing I like to bring here is everybody thinks sustainability is expensive. आप organizations में जाएंगे तो they think about कि यार ये तो मेरा cost center है. The biggest part is sustainability is not expensive. It is about reduce, reuse, recycle, which means come, which means profit, which means saving. किसको पैसा बचे अच्छा नहीं लगता है, right? And if you promote it that way, everybody will think about it. And that's why I think we need to change the narrative. Let's talk about solar. There was a time solar was expensive. Today, I am building a solar plant that generates solar power at 2.3 rupees a unit for 25 years. That's the plant that is powering the Delhi metro as we speak, right? This means कि एक जगह पे एक कोल प्लांट है जो 4 रुपए पे पावर जनरेट करता है, जो एस्केलेट करता है. On the second place there is a solar plant where sun is free, which generates power at 2.3 rupees flat for the next 25 years. Which one do you want to invest in, right? But it is an upfront investment because you have to invest the capital on the day zero. तो लोगों को इसके अंदर कॉन्सेप्ट समझना पड़ेगा as ROI, return on my investment. So everything is, sustainability is thought expensive because you have to invest upfront. What you have to educate is that investment will lead a lot of return in the next. So you have to look at an NPV, net present value of that. Exactly like you said, there is no future, there is only a green future. So the investment has to be. So that concept needs to be explained. And that's where I wanted to bring the whole point about solar and the EVs. The problem with solar today is still daytime power, right? You only get that till the sun shines. And you're like, बस मुझे तो रात को भी AC चलाना है ना. So how can I just use solar? That's where the concept of battery storage is coming. And all we need to do is invest in that for some point of time. Unfortunately, battery is where solar was in 2010. It is still slightly expensive. But exactly like 2010, solar was 18 rupees a unit. Now I'm sub 3. Wait for a few years and you will get sub 5 rupees 24-hour renewable power. And that's when you'll have a revolution. Not just your cars. You know, you'll say my cook stove, you know, my home, everything. I will have so much power, green power, and at prices which are cheaper than coal. That will be a revolution. All I need to do is today invest in the research. That's where technology institutes like you come forward, right? That today battery storage is expensive. The whole solar research has been led a lot by the West. Can India use its technical brain to do that? That's the next part that I wanted to come in. I know I'm out of time. I'll take one last thing and then I will pause. I think in our history, sustainability has been there. हमारे parents के घर में वो milk एक can में आता था. I think somewhere we have forgotten that history. So all in all, what we need to do is a reminder of those practices, bring them forward and consolidate it, and use our women homemakers as that thing. Why? Because the homemaker is the one which educates the child, and you need to catch them young. Yes. The change comes from the youth. The first has to be the mother who educates it, makes it a second nature. Why does sustainability has to be something you think about? It has to be something जो मुझे naturally है. वो naturally घर से शुरू होगा ना, from the mother, and then the education institutes will top it up by making it something. And that's the vision I want to build in. For me today, because I'm sitting here, I pledge that I am happy to support the education institutes. I am happy to come talk to the students about my journey, to influence them by saying this is a profession you can choose, and it not just makes you sleep good at night, it actually does very good for the nation and for myself. You know, my firm is now listed on the LSE. I couldn't have done that, I think, from a lot of other things. So why is sustainability always a backup option? It is your forefront option. Think about that. You know, I have a lot of other things, but I'll pause here. I'll come back when we do the next round.
Let us clap for her.
There's a lot of passion in the way you speak. And one last point, because I think I would forget that, because you were talking about carbon footprint and measuring carbon footprint individually. Very good suggestion. I think all of us should do that. Maybe we would download an app on our phone.
Yeah, it is there.
And there's one thing which I just want to add up, and before we move ahead, that you talked about carbon footprint. So there is a research from MIT which says that how much, like, you know, for a human being, you know, to just, when we talk about net zero, and you said that if you have to, you know, completely do a net zero sum of your carbon footprint, how many trees you have to plant? So that they've come up with an average Indian 343 trees have to be planted to have a 340.
You will not believe
For if I have my lifetime, if I am doing my carbon footprint for a lifetime, if I need to do a net zero, it has to be 340 trees. So that's where the metrics come in. What can be measured can be managed. So that's the whole sum game, net zero.
So, you know, I'm not here to talk about my app, but I would really nudge you to install Mixo, which is my net zero. And what I realized about my footprint, because I am actually not one of the good emitters, all I need is a 1.6 acre forest, which costs me less than a flight from US and back. It costs me 2.5 lakh rupees, which I'm right now investing as a 200 rupees per month SIP. मेरे Spotify के premium से कम is what I pay to get to net zero by 2030. Everybody thinks sustainability is expensive. It is not. It is cheaper than your YouTube subscription. All you need to do is invest in it on a proactive basis. Because you plant trees on one day to say आज World Environment Day. Every day is World Environment Day. Every month I have to invest for it. And I don't need to wait for that one gala day, because you think that 200 rupees investment is small. It's not small. And you don't need much.
Yes.
You know, all I need is a 1.6 acre forest, and now I'm planting it, so I know it is actually possible to get to net zero in my lifetime with not investing billions or millions of dollars, by investing something which is affordable for me.
I mean, कभी टाइम होगा तो आपसे पूछ के देखेंगे कि ये सब पैशन आपने क्यों डेवलप किया, कैसे डेवलप हुआ, बस कुछ ना कुछ तो रीज़न रहा होगा. कई बार ऐसे पैशन अपने आप ही डेवलप नहीं होता है. शी स्पोक फ्रॉम हार्ट. तो लग रहा है कि अपना पूरा दिल से उसको बोल रही है. I mean, कोई उनके लिए ये ज़रूरत नहीं है, उनकी अपनी ज़रूरत है, उनको कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. I mean, we all appreciate. Again, we can clap.
On the carbon footprint, I read data somewhere a few days back that carbon footprint for average Indian is 1.8 ton per year, and this is against the global average 4.5 ton. So that appreciable. But the fact is that we as Indian, we need to work in the direction that this becomes zero.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So in this same stat, if you change the carbon footprint instead of an average Indian for an urban Indian, things change.
Yes.
Because there is a large rural population that we have, which has not been traditionally the ones using the electricity the same way or the cars this way.
You're right.
And the urban population, unfortunately, is at a much higher number. And we are the people who are in control because we have the resources. We just don't know what we are doing. So mindfulness जो हमने कहा ना, जो self के लिए आती है, कहते हैं meditation क्यों करो? To be mindful of your thoughts. The same way to be mindful of your actions, to change that behavior from intent to actions. I can keep going on carbon footprint. I have done research, but I don't want to.
And this is what Life campaign is. You talk
Yes,
about
Life
Life
campaign.
campaign is something which is talking about this so much.
Actually, net zero starts
Yeah.
from Life
Life
campaign.
one.
So 1 billion behavioral change and 1 billion people
Yeah.
taking some
Certainly,
districts. Yes.
And about the trees also, some SMS, some message was circulating on the WhatsApp about the number of trees every country has.
Yes.
And India, this number was showing as 28, as against the very, very large number in thousands in USA and Canada.
Yeah.
I think that also has to increase.
Actually, but it's not about trees. Actually, this debate can go on. Like the World Environment Day, as you rightly mentioned, it was about land restoration,
Oh, yeah.
desertification, and drought
Yeah,
resilience.
there are many things.
The lot. Actually, we'll talk about this.
Yes.
Maybe in the second one.
Madam, we
Second.
can speak for 10 minutes. Then Rajan ji को 4 बजे निकलना है. Then Rajan ji, you can speak. Please.
So namaskar, thank you for having me here. And in fact, when I was hearing Anurag Chauhan, what he was telling, he mentioned spirituality somewhere. And what I believe, sustainability is neo-spirituality, right? Why? Because spirituality is about discovering the truth
माइक ले
beneath and
लीजिए,
beyond.
रिकॉर्डिंग अच्छी आएगी. माइक ले लीजिए, रिकॉर्डिंग अच्छी आएगी.
So sustainability is, so spirituality, as I was telling you, it is about discovering truth beyond and beneath, right? And then finding inner peace. Today, if we say sustainability, it has become a talking point or the buzzword. It's everywhere. You talk of the products, they say sustainability. They just attach word sustainability to this for more acceptability, for better acceptability in the society. Because we know, people are aware of this concept now. But at the same time, only the manifestation of climate change that we have realized that we need to understand how we are going to utilize the resources. And otherwise, imagine the concept of sustainability was there, that you should be utilizing the available resources in a way that it is available for the future generation to come as well. So, but who was measuring that? Who was measuring that? Nobody. But only the manifestations, like only the changes in the environment, changes in the climate that we realize it. Now, drawing on this concept of individuals, actions and sustainability, I would say that since I'll take it to the stakeholders right away, you were talking about the women. So women constitute 50% of the population. And मुझे लगता है कि जैसे कि आप मल्टी स्टोरी बिल्डिंग में रह रहे हैं या फिर आप RWA में हैं, तो वहाँ पे ऐसे हाउस होल्ड्स को हमें आइडेंटिफाई करना चाहिए, सेलिब्रेट करना चाहिए, अवार्ड करना चाहिए, जहाँ पे हम ये सस्टेनेबिलिटी प्रैक्टिस देख रहे हैं. There are women who are doing really good work at the individual level. If we can do that, perhaps somewhere उस बिल्डिंग में या उस RWA में एक कल्चर होगा, एक सेलिब्रेशन होगा ऐसे एस्पेक्ट का. और यूथ का मुझे लग रहा था कि एनवायरमेंट साइंस इज अ कंपल्सरी सब्जेक्ट आई बिलीव इन द करिकुलम ऑफ द ग्रेजुएशन, राइट? If we can really take it to the level of schools, that will definitely, somewhere the value of sustainability or the idea of sustainability will be inculcated in the youth at the very beginning. So I believe if we can take it to the level in the curriculum as such, the suggestion, the curriculum of the school going children also in the maybe 10th, 11th, 12th, maybe, so उससे फर्क पड़ेगा. और इंडिविजुअल, जैसा कि अभी कहा कि what difference can an individual make? So there is an example of Pradeep Sangwan. If you people know of him,
Pardon?
Healing Himalayas, Pradeep Sangwan. This guy alone has covered or trekked 2,000 kilometers in a year. Every year he does that. In a year, and collected almost 8 lakh kgs of non-biodegradable waste from the Himalayas. He was mentioned by our Honorable Prime Minister in his one of the Man Ki Baat. But this is how we can make the difference. So if really number can, influencers can motivate us, then look at this now. This is amazing. 8 lakh kg, which is human waste. So I think definitely we at an individual level can make the difference. So जैसे कि आपने कहा कि behavioral changes हैं, which is, it is not in a very short span of time that we can see the behavioral changes, but with the awareness programs, definitely we can make the changes. We will be able to make the changes in the behavior of the individuals. Thank you.
जय हिंद दोस्तों, मेरा नाम राजन जौहरी है और मैं दिल्ली एनसीआर का स्टेट हेड हूँ फॉर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जिसका नाम है इको सिविलाइजेशन यूरोप. मैं हेडक्वार्टर्ड स्लोवेनिया में हूँ और इस समय नई दिल्ली में और एनसीआर दिल्ली में मैं उसका स्टेट हेड हूँ. और आज के कार्यक्रम में दीपक जी के साथ आकर मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, क्योंकि ऐसा लगा कि आप बहुत कुछ हमारी भाषा में बात कर रहे हैं एंड आप बहुत सारी चीज़ें ऐसी बोल रहे हैं जो हमारे लिए ज़रूरी हैं. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा जब तान्या की बात सुनी, जो जैसे मैम कह रही, तो जो आपने पैशन के साथ बात करी. सो पैशन के साथ साथ जो 6 चीज़ें हम नोटिस करते हैं वर्ल्ड वाइड. अभी रिसेंटली वी हैड COP23 इन दुबई और उसके अलावा अभी यूनाइटेड नेशंस में. तो ये जो इको सिविलाइजेशन है ये 45 नेशंस का एक मूवमेंट है जिसमें कि काम करने के लिए आप सबको मैं आमंत्रित करता हूँ. और स्पेशली आपके टेरी में एक हम आपकी बात सुनने के बाद और इतना ऑर्गेनाइजेशन देखने के बाद, तो दीपक रास्ते में मुझे बता रहे थे कि कितना आप कमिटेड हैं, तो वी कैन सेट अप अ चैप्टर फॉर यू ऑफ इको सिविलाइजेशन इन इंडिया विद स्टार्टिंग विद टेरी. तो ये काम हम कर सकते हैं. हमारे पास कुछ फंड्स भी हैं जो कि हम इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. कि मैं पहले आपको एक्सप्लेन करूं कि आप जो बोल रहे थे उसमें एक स्ट्रक्चर कैसे बन सकता है. तो हम सबके पास बहुत सारे रिफ्लेक्शन माने हम जो सुना है, करा है, बताना चाहते हैं, सजेशंस हैं. और ये सब्जेक्ट इतना वाइड है दैट इट इज सो डिफिकल्ट टू काइंड ऑफ कंटेन इन 10 मिनट्स और 15 मिनट्स. तो ये वर्ल्ड वाइड है, लेकिन कहाँ पर ये जो हमें असर कर रहा है. सो देयर आर सम टेक्निकल टर्म्स व्हिच आई रियली डोंट अंडरस्टैंड सो वेल बिकॉज you are the expert. Carbon footprint, okay, I don't understand them so well. NPV, I don't understand them so well, but I do understand some things that we do actually. तो एक पहली चीज़ मैं दीपक से शेयर कर रहा था कि एक हमारे सस्टेनेबिलिटी का जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है वो है इंक्लूजन. इंक्लूजन हम कितना करना चाहते हैं और कितना करते हैं. सो तान्या कुछ कह रही थी उसके बारे में, लेकिन समय नहीं था. देयर इज अ ह्यूज गैप बिटवीन व्हाट वी वांट टू डू एंड व्हाट वी आर डूइंग. पता नहीं सस्टेनेबिलिटी एक्चुअल टर्म्स के मतलब क्या होते हैं, लेकिन मेरे हिसाब से हम कितना कर सकते हैं और कितना कर रहे हैं, अगर उसको एक्चुअल में करेंगे तो ये होगा. फिर आपको हम एग्जाम्पल देंगे कि क्या क्या. दूसरा है जिसको बोलते हैं इन्फ्लुएंस. तो हम कितना इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं और कितना करना चाहते हैं. तो बात हम सभी कर सकते हैं. आई एम श्योर कि हमें अगर कोई एक 5 दिन की कॉन्फ्रेंस हो और सबको आधा दिन दिया जाए तो हम लगातार बोल सकते हैं इस सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर, राइट. तो ऑसम, इतना ज्ञान हमारे देश में है, इतना काम हमारे देश में है. उसके उसके बाद लास्ट है कंट्रोल, हम कितना सस्टेनेबिलिटी को, हाउ मच कैन बी कंट्रोल एंड हाउ मच डू वी विश टू कंट्रोल। भारत के ऊपर बहुत प्रेशर है, हमारी सरकार के ऊपर बहुत प्रेशर है, लेकिन आपको जानकर ताज्जुब हो कि जितना हमारा कार्बन का आउटलेट है उतना बहुत सारे देशों से बहुत कम है। हाँ, ये बात ज़रूर है कि हमारे देश में पर पर्सन 500 पेड़ भी नहीं है, और बहुत सारे देशों में लोग हमें बहुत सारी बातें बताते हैं और एक्यूज करते हैं, दे से दैट यू आर नॉट डूइंग मच। हम स्लोवेनिया में बात करते हैं तो ऑफ कोर्स यू गॉट 5000 ट्रीज टू पर पर्सन बिकॉज यू हैव सो मेनी लेस नंबर ऑफ पीपल। तो भाई स्टैटिस्टिक्स तो हमें भी आती है, और मैम आप तो रिसर्चर्स हैं, तो आप हमने जब PhD IIT दिल्ली में किया तो हम इतना स्टैटिस्टिक्स पर ध्यान नहीं देते थे, हम नरेशन पर ध्यान देते थे, क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च। आपने किया क्या? मेरे PhD प्रोग्राम में पूछा गया कि क्या क्या, तो मैंने बोला कि मेरी बैकग्राउंड एक्चुअली बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग है। मैं करीब 40 मान के चलिए 40 साल तो हो ही गए होंगे जब मैंने सोशल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी में मास्टर्स करना शुरू किया, और उसी से मैंने सिविल सर्विसेज में एंट्री पाई थी। और उस समय मेरी थीसिस का जो टॉपिक था वो था द कल्चरल इकोलॉजी ऑफ थारू ट्राइबल्स। और ये वर्ड कल्चरल इकोलॉजी जब हमने डिवाइस किया, और आज हम जब इंटरनेशनली बात करते हैं तो हमें लगता है कि कल्चरल इकोलॉजी ही आप बात कर रहे थे। अभी आपने कहा कि हमारे कल्चर में है, हमारे स्पिरिचुअलिटी में आप कुछ बता रहे थे। सो इट इज़ इन कल्चरल इकोलॉजी, इट्स कॉल्ड कल्चरल इकोलॉजी। सो मैं एक फेस्टिवल का डायरेक्टर हूँ जिसको कहते हैं फेस्टिवल ऑफ कल्चरल इकोलॉजी, FOCI। ये बहुत सारे कॉलेजेस में चलता है, उत्तर प्रदेश में काफ़ी चला, और अभी दिल्ली में कुछ ही कॉलेजेस में इसके बारे में बातचीत हुई। बट इन दैट फेस्टिवल वी डू लॉट ऑफ एड्यूटेनमेंट थिंग्स, वो चाहे स्ट्रीट प्ले हो, जैसे हम दीपक को बता रहे थे कि मैंने खुद एक्टिंग करी। आप कभी अगर मेरा नाम गूगल में डालिएगा, और कुछ बॉलीवुड के साथ भी हमारी कुछ बातचीत रही कुछ समय, तो उसका हम लोगों ने नाम रखा था मेरी जलेबी किसने खाई। एक्चुअली इट वॉज अ ट्रांसलेशन ऑफ हु मूव्ड माई चीज बाय जॉन स्पेंसर, पर हम लोगों ने उसको हिंदी में डाला। तो गांव में जब बात कर रहे थे कि मेरी जलेबी किसने खाई, तो उनसे पूछा गया कि तुम्हारे यहाँ पे एक पहले तलैया थी तो वो कहाँ चली गई। तो वेंकटेश दत्ता हमारे कॉलीग हैं जो कि BBD में पढ़ाते हैं, तो उन्होंने कहा वो तलैया को पाट दिया गया, फिर उसके ऊपर खेत बना दिया, खेत के ऊपर गाँव बना दिया। सो द क्वेश्चन वी आस्क्ड वाज कि आपको उससे फ़ायदा हुआ कि नुकसान? तो उन्होंने कहा अब हम का पता, राइट। इसी तरह मैं ये काम कोविड के दौरान कर रहा था। तो कोविड में बहुत प्रेशर था, सरकार ने प्रेशर किया, हमारे पर प्रेशर हुआ कि आप जो हैं वो कोविड के बारे में जानकारी फैलाएं। अगेन इट वाज पार्ट ऑफ कल्चरल इकोलॉजी। देखिए उसका डाइवर्सिफिकेशन कहाँ होता है, आप जो कह रहे हैं वो एक्चुअल इंक्लूजन में होगा नहीं। तो हम उस दौरान पहुँचे गाँव में, और माता जी से पूछा कि तुम टीका लगाई हो कि नहीं, तो बोली हमका कोई जरूरत ही नहीं रही। हमने कहा क्यों? तो बोली अरे हमारे पीछे एक बार कोविड पड़ गवा रहा, वो काम 2 लठिया 3 और भाग गवा। तो हमने कहा कोविड? तो बोली हाँ हमारे पीछे पड़ गवा रहा, एक बार पेड़ से उतरा और हमारे पीछे पड़ गवा। तो हमने पूछा कैसा था वो कोविड अम्मा? तो शी सेड ओ इतना बड़ा इतना मोटा था, उसका बहुत सारी तीली लगी रही और वो हमका पीछे पड़ गवा। Then I had to go back and think, where is the government spending? So I realized that the model that they took was of a big football which had got knitting needles put in it, and that was the COVID germ. That was so the people were not wanting to get inoculation because they could imagine that इतनी बड़ी football जैसा हमारे जाएगा कैसे, right? So the whole money and the whole thing that you spent on cultural ecology, on sustainability, they can't figure it out कि पानी में गड़बड़ है या पेड़ में गड़बड़ है. How do they figure it out? So we have another partner in DMA, and she said, I'm doing a communication program. So you may have met Anuradha.
Anuradha, yes, full key.
So I said we will work together, and Deepak encouraged her and said, let's try and put all this thing together. So the amazing thing, Tanya, you're most welcome to join everybody else, is that we must be able to communicate and say कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी बहुत अच्छा है, हमें पेपर भी लिख सकते हैं, बात भी कर सकते हैं, होगा कैसे? तो जो हम आपको सजेशन दे रहे हैं तो उसका एक्चुअल कैसे करना है. सो यहाँ से उठ कर जाएंगे तो फिर हम अपने कामों में बिजी होंगे. हम गाड़ी में जाएंगे ही घर, जाके नहाएंगे भी, अपने कपड़े भी हम इजी में धोएंगे. ऑब्वियसली तो इसमें कहने की कोई बात ही नहीं है, और अगर नहीं करते तो झूठ बोलते हैं, ऐसा हो नहीं सकता. एसी में जाकर लेटेंगे, कितना भी कहें कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं, ठंडा पानी पिएंगे, राइट? तो फिर कहने में और करने में क्या आ सकता है? सो लेट्स स्टार्ट सिंपल. तो हमारे इको सिविलाइजेशन में हमने 3 प्रोग्राम्स बनाए। स्कूल में जो अभी लोरेटो कॉन्वेंट गर्ल्स यहाँ पे जो पीछे है दिल्ली में, एक दिन आप चलिएगा तो आपको मुलाकात कराएंगे, तो वहाँ पे हम लोगों ने प्रोग्राम किया माई वाटर बॉटल। वो था क्लास 0 प्ले स्कूल से क्लास 3 तक। फिर नेक्स्ट किया अर्थ विदाउट वाटर, और लास्ट किया अर्थ एज अ टेरेनियम। तो कॉन्सेप्ट ये था कि अगर बच्चों को अब ये कल्चरल इकोलॉजी का पार्ट है। शर्मा जी जैसे कह रहे थे कि बहुत समय पहले जब घड़े में पानी भरा जाता था तो सबसे पहले उसको खकार के और फिर उसके पहले तिलक बनाते थे और फिर उसकी पूजा करके तब पानी डाला जाता था। हमेशा कहा जाता था पानी बैठ के पीजिए, ये नहीं कि ग्लास लिया और लटक गए। आपको बैठ के पानी पीना, क्योंकि जितना धरती के पास पानी नीचे जाता है, अब जितना धरती के पास होगा अपने आप के सिस्टम में जाएगा। सो वी यूज्ड टू सिट डाउन एंड डू दैट। ओके, इसको अगर हम प्ले में बना सकते हैं, प्ले में, तो स्कूल में बच्चों को अगर आप बताइए वाटर बॉटल, ही हैज नो क्लू, बट अगर आप उसके अंदर एक मछली डाल दीजिए जस्ट टू शो ही कुड अंडरस्टैंड ये क्या है मछली, देन यू गो अगेन एंड एक्सप्लेन टू देम। सिमिलरली सीनियर क्लास में बातचीत हुई कि बार बार इसके ऊपर कहा जाता कि पानी बेकार कर रहे हैं, वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, पानी खत्म हो गया, बट द अर्थ इज अ टेरेनियम, इट्स लाइक एन एक्वेरियम। जो ईश्वर ने हमें पानी दिया, जितना भी पानी दिया था वो कहीं गया नहीं है, इट कांट गो एनीवेयर। हमारे एटमॉस्फेयर से एस्केप ही नहीं कर सकता है पानी, इट कैन नेवर गो, पर वो अनयूजेबल हो गया, कहीं धरती में फंस गया है, कहीं और चला गया, हम उसको कैसे सेव करेंगे। So the program is called UNI. This is my program. I devised it. So I am very proud that I am the author of the program, and now we are implementing it worldwide. So उसका नाम है UNI. UN small e big E. University Nurtured Enterprise Ecosystem. अगर टेरी एक यूनी है तो आपके पास गार्डन भी है, पानी भी है, आसमान भी है, हवा भी है, पावर भी है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी भी है, लोग भी हैं, एनर्जी भी है, वेस्ट भी है। तो अगर एक टेरी एक यूनी है, सो अगर हम इसमें कुछ कर सकते हैं जो आप करने की कोशिश करते हैं, तो हम यही मॉडल रेप्लिकेट कर सकते हैं। सिमिलरली लोरेटो दिल्ली इज थिंकिंग ऑफ लोरेटो एज बीइंग अ यूनी, कि हम अपने ही कॉलेज में क्या कर सकते हैं। तो बच्चों को सिखाया गया है जब भी पानी की बोतल भरने जाना तो पानी जो थोड़ा सा रह गया उसको इस वाले पेड़ में डालना। ऑलराइट, एज सिंपल एज दैट। तो कुछ पेरेंट्स के साथ मीटिंग हुई, पेरेंट्स ने कहा हम भी ये काम करना चाहते हैं। तो दीपक को मैं कह रहा था कि डोंट ओनली डू इट विद एकेडमिशियंस, हम लोग तो बात करना अच्छा लगता है, बात करेंगे, बताएंगे, पेपर लिखेंगे, लेकिन पेरेंट्स, जैसे कह रही थी तानिया, माताओं को समझाना है। तो कुछ पेरेंट्स ने कहा आप जानते हैं राजन जी, आपके कार्यक्रम के बाद में माय डॉटर कम्स एंड टेल्स मी मम्मी पानी बंद करिए। शी टेल्स द बाई, ये पोछा धोने के बाद इस पे केमिकल मिला है क्या? तो उसने बोला नहीं, तो इसको फेंकना नहीं, इसको गार्डन में डाल देना, राइट? And then the most amazing last thing that I want to tell you, because of the whole thing was happening, there was a girl who said in class 10, she said, I want to tell you something. I have learned from sustainability that plants talk to each other. So I was shocked out of my life. I said, is that so? तुमने सुना है कि yeah? You know sir, plants talk to each other. मैंने कहा कैसे? तो she said, मेरे घर में 2 plants थे, तो वो दोनों प्लांट्स एक साथ रखे थे। एक दिन मम्मी ने कहा एक को अंदर रखो, एक को ड्राइंग रूम में रख दो, तो हमने एक को ड्राइंग रूम में रख दिया, तो बाहर रख दिया, इधर वाला भी लटक गया, उधर वाला भी लटक गया। हमने कहा पानी नहीं दिया था तुमने? नहीं, पानी भी दिया। फिर क्या हो? क्योंकि वो लोग बात नहीं कर पा रहे थे। So I thought about it. So true. There is research that tells you in sustainability, you kill a plant here and then be few meters away that there is a plant, क्योंकि इसके नीचे एक underneath world है which is so networked like a neurons in the brain. It's so networked underneath the earth. आपको लगता है कि हमने एक पेड़ छोड़ दिया, लेकिन पेड़ नीचे 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 अर्थ में all the roots are kind of connected. So you injure one plant here or kill a plant here, there's a possibility that the same plant may actually communicate 500 meters. So इधर पेड़ कटा, उधर वाला तबीयत खराब हो गई, राइट? अब ये कॉन्सेप्ट अगर दीपक के प्रोग्राम के थ्रू और आपके सहयोग से, एंड विद ऑल ऑफ यू आर सो वंडरफुल पीपल, इफ यू कैन कनेक्ट इट, देन वी नीड टू टेल दिस टू आवर पेरेंट्स। हम लोगों ने एक प्रोग्राम किया है, माली को सर्टिफिकेशन दिया। माली जानते हैं आप? जो गार्डनर, बिकॉज माली इज अ माली। सो हमारे उत्तर प्रदेश में अगर वो अपनी साइकिल पे एक खुरपी लगा के सड़क पे चला जा रहा है तो लोग माली उसको रोक लेते हैं। एंड द माली डजंट नो एनी डैम थिंग अबाउट एनीथिंग अबाउट गार्डनिंग, ही ओनली नोस की खुरपी लगा के ऐसे कर लो, पेड़ लगा दो। एंड देन ही क्लेम्स टू ए माली एंड ही सेज पर विजिट 250 rupees. Actually before that he may have been anything else, driver, auto driver, whatever. But now वो माली है, because nowadays everybody wants to do plants. It's a sustainability thing. So my request to you is, it's a wonderful program. I got some resources sitting with me as the state head. And the best thing which you are finding, I'm finding more women than men. Because this eco-civilization, I'm actually a he for she. आप मेरी वेबसाइट पर जाके देखिएगा ecocivilization.earth, वहाँ पे आपको सारी विमेन है। There are 45 nations. It's a united nation. 45 and all the country heads are women. Okay, महिला सशक्तिकरण का वो नहीं है इसमें, but the actual truth is that you can try because प्रकृति ही, you know that प्रकृति is known to be, पौरुष हम हैं, प्रकृति महिला है। So मदर नेचर क्यों कहते हैं, फादर नेचर नहीं कहा कभी, मदर नेचर कहते हैं, माता श्री इसलिए मानते हैं धरती को। तो अगर हम इसको समझ पाएं तो आप देखिएगा कि उसमें हमारा अपॉइंटमेंट जब हुआ, so I had to go and attend a competency center elsewhere in the world and they picked up and they told me, but you know what Rajan, you are going to be a he for a she. तो मुझे बहुत देर तक समझ भी नहीं आया, पता नहीं कोई जेंडर वेंडर इशू हो रहा है कुछ। I could figure it out. I said कि मतलब what do you mean by that? She said you've got to wear a T-shirt when you come out because just 45 countries he are there for she. So मेरे आप डेजिग्नेशन में देखिएगा लिखा होगा स्टेट हेड, तो उसके नीचे लिखा है ब्रैकेट में he for she. So that means I'm there all for you, I'm there all for Tanya and for ma'am and for ma'am. आप कुछ भी प्रोजेक्ट उठाइए, there'll be a he for a she, and I'm sure Deepak will be a he for a she, and so will Krishna, and so will Sanjay, and so many Amit, so many of us who are he for she. But do it, okay? And I welcome you to look at eco-civilization. I'm part of DMA, and I'm the chairperson for another committee and group, and I work with. He's the boss on ESG, so I support him in doing everything that he does. And I'm so glad that I came. And it's a lovely lunch because I was already hungry by the time I came. So thank you for it. And I'd love to come back.
Wonderful.
Deepak or
Love to
anything
host
that
you.
you
Yes,
do.
yes.
Set up a uni and I will help you to set up a chapter for.
Wonderful.
And then we will invite Aarti. She is the country head and based here in India. At the moment she's in some country. But I'll invite her to TERI on your behalf.
Wonderful.
And see if we can just talk to students and all of you once again. And of course with okay, namaste, Jai Hind.
We were having in the morning MC meeting, movement committee meeting in the DMA. तो सर और हम साथ में ही थे। तो बात तो शायद एक दो दिन से चल रही थी कि आपने भी इंटरेस्ट, पहले JNU में भी इन्होंने आने का इंटरेस्ट शो किया था, बट आज आ गए तो हमने भी सबने सुन लिया। आज पहली बार मैंने आपको इस टॉपिक पे सुना है, नहीं तो DMA में तो तो आई अप्रिशिएट। आप अभी जाएंगे, इससे पहले मैं आपको फेलिसिटेट कर दूं, आई मीन फ्रॉम DMA से है, तो आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट इनफैक्ट श्रुति डॉक्टर श्रुति।
Oh, that is so lovely of you.